Okay, yeah. So we're gonna start the poetry section of the Harbor Show. So first up, we have Zenah Khatib. Everyone, please give a round of applause for Zenah. Come on up. Come on up.
Hello? Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Zenah. I'm Lebanese and Palestinian, and today I wrote a poem about the current events in Palestine and how it's affected me and my heritage. Did you know that olive trees live for around 500 years? More than 9 million olive trees are rooted in Palestine. These olive groves are passed down over the years. Generations and generations have been provided with their shade, their fruit, their oil. Outside in Palestine, their roots run deep. But trees cannot grow when you keep them inside, behind walls, behind apartheid walls. You might make it to 18 years old if you're lucky. 75 years ago, 800,000 of these olive trees were uprooted, ripped from their native soil. This uprooting, this Nakba did not end in 1948. It continues to this day. 15,000 olive trees lay lifeless in Gaza. We watch from outside, overseas, olive trees ourselves, thirsting for the water from our rivers, yearning to be rooted in the land of our ancestors. Our branches stretch over just out of reach. 15,001, 15,002, 15,003, and counting. We're watching as our trees, our groves, our families are destroyed. The land once fertile lays barren, haunted ruins of our cities, but the land never forgets. Our roots still run deep in our dreams. The olive trees that remain hold on. The blood-soaked soil does not stop them. The bombed earth does not deter them. Their roots run too deep. For the land belongs to us. We planted these trees.
Wow, that was awesome. That was awesome. Keep the round of applause going. That was very vulnerable, very beautiful. That was awesome. That was very beautiful. Okay, next up, can I get Imaan Faisal to come up here, please, and to present her poem? Yes, everyone, please give a round of applause. Keep it running. Come on. Jog up here. Okay, there you go. My shirt.
Hi. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. My name's Iman. I am in my third year of creative writing at UH, and the piece I'm going to read is, it's a poem, but it's actually a small piece of a larger work, which is actually a larger nonfiction piece. And in it, I kind of meditate on my experiences or my observations with generational trauma, and specifically how trauma is passed down between women and how that bloodline kind of continues, and it's as much anatomical as it is, I guess, psychological. So, give me a second. All right. Wring out this row of wombs and watch the pulp run down your arms. Rinse yourself off. Really get in there. Scrub gore from beneath each fingernail with damning patience. Hours later, your hands reek still of amniotic fluid. Lodge this truth in the base of your throat. There is a grandmother who had to watch girlhood trickle down a kitchen sink, and a mother who had to wipe down the counter afterward so she could start on dinner, and skin on my body that isn't mine. There is a small piece of me that isn't me, but a row of women who had to learn to swallow. There is a small piece of me that was alive before my mother went into labor. It lives in the apex of each cheekbone, in the bridge of my nose, in girlhood that I watched run down the side of each arm like juice from a wretched fruit. Procession of placentas, girls who learn to swallow. There are daughters who make promises. I will scrub my skin of this blood. I will never feed another this fruit. There are always promises, and there are always mothers who learn to break them. Every womb is a mirror too heavy to hold. They face one another, braided fractals that echo endlessly in either direction. Every girl is a daughter, is a grandmother, is a mother, is the flesh of this fruit, is an embryo over the kitchen sink, struggling to rinse the amniotic fluid from its wrist. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. It gave me goosebumps. Okay, next up, I want to bring up Rana Mohamad. Can you please, everyone please give a round of applause for Rana Mohamad. Rana Mohamad. Awesome.
All right, hello everyone. Okay, I'm going to be sharing a piece that I wrote about my Sudanese identity. A while back, I was having a conversation with my dad, and I found out that on government papers he signs off as Asian American. And we are definitely from Sudan, which is definitely in North Africa. So it's very concerning. And so thinking through that, I wrote this piece. Baba grips the pages of an old newsletter and reads, in its formation in 1946, the Arab League defined an Arab as a person whose language is Arabic, who lives in an Arabic-speaking country, who is in sympathy with the aspirations of the Arabic-speaking people. His eyes shine and my bitten tongue bleeds. I want to say, denial is a river in Africa, a river that cuts through your home, Sudan, the home of your father and the father before him. The Arab in you is not an Arab without Africa. She gave you breath before they gave you language. Now my father enunciates his name, Usama Abdullah, and rejects the earth that fills the margins of his skin. He understands one way to be, and that is Arab. That is, he cannot be black and Arab. That is, the African in him is purely geographical. That is, his skin is the result of years of sun, as if the chains, bullets, and blades that kissed the forearms of our great-grandfathers were just deficient in vitamin D. I recognize this performance. I want to say, Baba, denial is genetic, and I am your daughter. I have memorized the slow surprise that ripens people's faces when my Arabic comes dribbling out. Wa alaikum salam. This perfect pronunciation is slow and deliberate. The spectacle of a native tongue. Baba, I too have spent my life asking for approval, but that still does not explain why I look at you and see that half of our country is missing. The men in our country are all like you. They've all read the same manual. See, A Country Split in Two, Chapter 55, page 21. To obtain proper citizenship status, do the following. At the sight of that which is darker than you, shoot. At the sound of a tongue that cannot curl like yours, shoot. Anyone who refrains from fighting is subject to blackness. You were always ready for a war, and so you waged it with yourself, tucked it beneath your ribcage for safekeeping. Victims of war carry it with them, and what had you carried, if not your own hurt? Baba, denial is a stage of grief. I know you understand duality as homelessness, and somehow identity has never found you, so you enter suffering and quiet Africa's voice in you, box her away, and call yourself by a new name. Is that a touch of pride or self-pity? You reject the sun infused into your veins and orchestrate the slave trade beneath your skin, and this denial is a coping mechanism. I want to say, when did you last cry? If I showed you the craters in your skin, the whitened curls of your head, the curve of your brown shoulders, would the tears come then? I want to say, Baba, even leaves match the color of the earth when they fall. And how do you mend a thing with a broken name? Sometimes we can't tell what has been taken away from us and what was never really ours to begin with. I want to say, I think that black isn't used to living so long. That's why it hasn't completely figured out how to rust with time. That's why they say black don't crack. That's why it's still a child in you. Black is still a child in you. Baba, Sudan in Arabic means the land of the blacks, which is to say, when our mother gave birth to us, she asked us to turn out the light in our skin because our heritage, our tongue, our hair and hips glow. And in broad daylight, motherless men would be blinded if you and the sun were to shine at once. Thank you.
That was really good. That was really good. I didn't know the background about your father identifying as Asian American, so that's really interesting. Okay, so we have technically two more. Remind me of your last name, please. Kadri? Okay, so we have Iman Kadri. She came in a little bit last minute, but it's okay. So we're gonna have her come up and present a poem. So if you guys can give her a round of applause, please.
Hello, my name is Iman. So I wrote this poem after my parents had actually just left to go to India. They hadn't been in many, many years, and I haven't been since I was 9. So I felt a real longing to go, and I was really upset that I couldn't go with them. And so I wrote this poem kind of as a response to that. Thank you. My parents took a flight to their homeland this morning. I closed my eyes as they backed away. I wish I was with them. I wish I could see my father smile with his feet planted in the soil of his birthplace, a smile I see only a fraction of when India wins a cricket match or when the sounds of old ghazals he listened to on cassettes ring the walls of our suburban landscape. I close my eyes and imagine his smile as it overtakes his face, like the other half of the sneer I saw when I came down the stairs with red painted hands and rattling beads of my shalwar on each step. I see half when he tells me that me and his father have the same eyes. I think of my father when my mother reminds me of hers. I see a fraction of her smile when my mother mentions him, recounting on memories so clear it feels like he was once a father to me, even if our eyes never once shared a glance. I wish their memories of the homeland were ones we'd shared. I wish my hands could pick jasmine and mangoes from neighboring trees. I wish my ears danced with ghazals and prose. I wish my arms rode scooters on crowded streets. I wish my tongue knew its mother so I could communicate with mine. I wish my words didn't have to be repackaged and sealed before I could tell my dada how I blink only to wet my eyes so I can stare at his longer. Our eyes that we share along with our homeland. I think of his eyes that can no longer see the country of his youth. Our eyes, our homeland, unrecognizable. I wish I could see through his eyes one last time and experience the landscapes he drew in my mind. I watch my parents' half smiles fade as the headlines come in, their smiles fixed in memories. The present doesn't cause the same shift in their cheeks as it did before. My homeland, where all of my wishes rest, in both of these halves. I blink my eyes only to elongate my gaze on the history, the love, the pain, and the loss I see in these halves. I pray to see them in their full form, finally, at once, my home and theirs. Thank you.
That was great. I'm glad we were able to hear that. It was very close. She almost didn't make it. So there's one more person who actually did not make it due to circumstances outside of his control, but he sent a file. Rana, can I have you go there? Actually, not, because you have to. Okay. Give me 1 second.
Where my dad is from, the kids want to grow up to be a Tantara Laut, a soldier of the sea. SubhanAllah. I pray the war can end so kids can grow up to be superheroes and astronauts and doctors and actors and lawyers and artists and scientists and chefs and writers and poets and poets and poets and anything else that doesn't force us to stare down a barrel of a gun, fingers poised on trigger, ready to take a life for the sake of power and money and fuel and territory and property and control and access and resources and corporations that will never see the faces of the kids that dream to become a soldier in their war. My father, in my opinion, is hebat sekali because he wanted to become a pilot, dreamt of flight, far away from poverty and turmoil. And no, he's not perfect, but is it really wrong to be rough around the edges? Is it so naive to dream? Isn't that what we are made of? The dreams of the people before us, before a plane was a plane, it was a dream of flight. Before a rocket took flight, it was a dream to stand on the moon. Imagine how childish he seemed, dreaming of wings in a world of arms and legs. Every day I wake up more stressed than the day before because I chose to become an artist. It's rarely the art that stresses me, but the longevity and fighting to find success in the eyes of my father. I pray to see if it'll ease my heart, but soon as the salam is spoken, my mind races. I've been running for as long as I can remember, followed Anana and Daiman's footsteps, fell in love with the beats on desks by Daiman's pencils that were designed to write, not ignite ciphers on lunch tables and bus stops. We bus ops with this art, this hustle be taken for granted. I see that these dreams will cost sleep, will cost time spent on indulgence. Take it all. It will discipline you in ways you think you're not ready for, like juggling 3 jobs to keep the light on, like taking in your little siblings, nurture them like offsprings, and hope our kinfolk can humble themselves enough to return to our arms and table and legs and feet, still running because the work is not yet done. We are bigger than their first offers. We are worthy of equity despite how they downplay us. We've been slept on and forgotten. We've been rooting out what's rotten, tending to our gardens because the highest leap starts with solid footing. The highest leap starts with solid footing. So don't stop, don't break, don't fold, don't shake under pressure and chaos and uncertainty and real loss. Choose flight, choose faith, choose love, fly and see it all, feel it all. Prayer in air, dream of freedom for us, all of us, and dignity for us. No more cutting ourselves short, no more excuses, no more almost, and I could have done. We could have done so much more with so much more, but what we have is abundant. If we dig inside at the parts of ourselves we're scared to see, we might learn to love a bit deeper, and if love is not the answer, then I guess we're asking the wrong questions. But I see you. I see us. I see the work we're doing is good. Don't ever stop till we see each other again. I love you. And don't you ever forget that.
So the next 15 minutes we're going to be pretty much sitting down. Feel free to hang around, but around 9-ish, 9:05, 9:15, we're gonna be out of here pretty much. So, but thank you guys so much for coming. We'll have this again maybe in March or something like that. So please look out and submit, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys again. Thank you guys so much.